Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thanks for the support. If you've recently subscribed, I really appreciate it. Today's video is the weekly fragrance rotation video. So it's week number 1. Never done this video before, but these are the scents that I wore this week. You'll have to see which ones got me the most compliments. Stay tuned. So going in on Monday, I didn't really feel the best. I didn't want to wear like a loud scent. Sometimes when you're sick, you don't feel like wearing anything, but of course I'm a fragrance guy, so I gotta wear something. And I wore Gucci Guilty Pour Homme EDP. So this one is interesting to me. It's hard to describe. So it is definitely a floral fresh fragrance, but it has notes of rose and this interesting balsamic vinegar-like vibe. And it's a little bit sweet. It's fresh, it's floral, it has some orange blossom in it. But this in the pure heat, I didn't really care for when I first got it. This one, it's extremely cold, doesn't have enough heft to it. But when you're in that in-between season, this is a really good fragrance. Granted, this is not one I wear all the time just because that vinegar note sometimes is a little strange to me. But this is a pretty good fragrance if you are rose forward, if you really like those rose fragrances, if you like that balsamic type feel. It's a floral fragrance. If you don't like florals, you're not going to like this. But overall, this is a very safe, crowd appealing. Most people are going to like this fragrance. And it's just overall pretty good. You know, it's not one that I would recommend go out there and buy right now, but if you ever see this somewhere where you can sample, or you know, if you're really into those floral fresh fragrances, this is a good one. I got a compliment on this one on Monday and was kind of surprised by it because I didn't think this lasted very long. You know, it seems like it's a 4 or 5 hour fragrance, but 7 hours into the day, got a compliment. You smell nice. I like what you're wearing today. And she never compliments me on anything. So that was kind of a surprise that she liked this. The only other fragrance she likes is Mont Blanc Starwalker. But you kind of get the vibe. Cheap, inoffensive, fresh. Yeah. So on Monday, Gucci Guilty, EDP, Pour Homme. So on Tuesday, me and the wife were off together. We shot our fragrance challenge video. You should check that out. That was a lot of fun, a lot of giggles. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the wife as much as I do. And so this is one of my favorite fragrances. I do not wear this in the pure summertime because there's a lot of heft to this fragrance for a tropical citrus fragrance. Zaharoff Coco Loco. And you can see what a gorgeous bottle design. And with every Zaharoff, we wear it a lot. So what do you get with this? This is tropical. It's citrusy. You get this pineapple. You get some cardamom in there. And the star of the show here is this coconut. It comes across as like a very rich, sweet coconut vanilla fragrance once it starts to, turn after that first 30 or 45 minutes. This is really good, but it's got a lot of heft to it for a tropical citrus fragrance. Usually when you get a citrus fragrance, it's citrus, a little bit of woods, and maybe some vanilla. This thing is tropical, fruity, and fun. Like, when I first got this, I was wearing this probably every single day just because, a lot of people compare this to like, this is a Zaharoff's version of Virgin Island water, but I don't get Virgin Island water here. I don't get a boozy vibe, but what I do get is just that beautiful citrus. You get that pineapple, you get that cardamom, you get that coconut. Coconut star of the show. If you do not like coconut, you're not going to like this fragrance, but this is fantastic. And I've gotten compliments on this before. The wife likes this one, and I mean, overall, just a very fun fragrance and gorgeous bottle design. George always has different caps that go with this. The design's a little bit different because my bottle's a little bit older, but fantastic, fun summer fragrance that has a little bit more depth than your normal summer fragrances. Fantastic. Zaharoff Coco Loco. So going into Wednesday, this was my first opportunity to get to wear this fragrance for the whole day. I was sampling around the house, but this one kind of shocked me how often I heard that people could smell what I was wearing and they liked it. Liquid Broom. I waited to get this for the longest time because I'm not really big on the hype train. You know, I don't really need the most popular fragrances. I like what kind of suits my taste, and that's kind of what you should do as well, is find fragrances that suit your taste and your profile. But I really wanted to try this just because that, you know, I don't have a lot of fall fragrances that are of this kind of profile. I don't have a lot of, you know, winter fragrances of this profile. And what do you get here? Man, it starts off with this orange blossom citrus. It's super well blended, and it's fresh to start. You get a little bit of cinnamon, and then it starts to turn. Within that 10 to 15 minutes, you get this really rich vanilla. I don't know, I think it's like a bourbon vanilla they have listed in this, but for fall, this is great. And it got sweeter throughout the day. I could not really tell how sweet it got, but 2 different people said, I really like what you're wearing today. And this was 28 bucks. I think it's 32 bucks this week. But French Avenue was cloning Parfums de Marly Altair with this fragrance. I don't have Altair. I never smelled Altair. Altair is really expensive. This isn't. And for the price, this is a very good cinnamon, vanilla, fresh in the beginning. Got a little bit of citrus. It's kind of unique for, you know, that fall type fragrance. You don't usually smell orange blossom, fresh floral with a little bit of, you know, fresh citrus that goes straight into a gourmand. And that's what this is. And it smells fantastic. On Wednesday, French Avenue's Liquid Brew. Going into Thursday, I was finally starting to feel a little bit better, but this was another fragrance I haven't gotten a lot of use out of just because I just recently got it. Did a first impressions on this fragrance when it first came in. And this is Burberry Hero EDP. And this is fantastic. So you get this slightly sweet, woody, I believe it's cedar that's in this fragrance. And I don't have a lot of wood-based fragrances, and this is one of the better ones that money can buy. I got this for like 60 bucks when it was a tester, and it kind of shocked me just because there's a lot more going on to this than what you may think. You know, when I think of Burberry, I think of Burberry Touch, you know, I think of Burberry London. And when this came out, I was like, I'm not going to try that. It's a Burberry. But then, you know, a couple different people kept talking about this fragrance and how good it was and what it does. And yeah, I didn't have a wood-based fragrance, but this is nice. Slightly sweet, a little bit resinous. It's very woody. And you have this green pine accord that doesn't come across too, you know, strong to me, but this is a very well blended fragrance, and people really like this profile. Like, I believe I sprayed this on around 6:30, 7 o'clock. When I came home, my wife could still smell it. I said, ooh, you smell really nice. And I was kind of stunned. Usually with designer fragrances, they're not beasts, they're not longevity monsters, but this one kind of is. And you know, I sprayed it on, it was 50 degrees in the morning, it was 70 degrees by the end of the day, so it wasn't too hot for it, but it's pretty fresh for a woody fragrance. So yeah, overall, this was a great release that I haven't tried. They have a lot of different flankers, but on Thursday, Burberry Hero EDP. And in the Friday, I let my wife pick the fragrance of the day, and this is one that also, it's pretty new to the collection, but I've always known this fragrance. I had it a long time ago and, you know, ran through a bottle, and this is my second bottle. Rochas Moustache EDP. And this is stunning. This is one of the better fall fragrances for under 30 bucks. It's different. It's unique. What's it smell like? YSL Tuxedo. And if you smelled that, that's a damn good fragrance. And so this, what I get when I first spray this on, it's straight orange and rose. And you get a little bit of sweetness, you get a good bit of woods, and then once it finally settles, you get a lot of benzoin in this fragrance. This is a benzoin heavy fragrance. But that rose and orange comes across so beautifully. And it's a, overall, like I said, it's got a nice woods background, and man, for the fall, this is perfect. At 50 to 60 degree weather, it just smells well put together. It smells classy. It smells sophisticated. Also has that alluring vibe where somebody walks past you, they're gonna be like, I haven't smelled that before. Because not a lot of people wear this. Not a lot of people know about this fragrance. You know, let's say the EDP came out in the late, it was like 2018, 2017, and it doesn't really get talked about just because, you know, It's a Rocus, you know? So this is a fantastic option for if you're trying to get something under 30 bucks, trying to be a little more sophisticated, something you can wear in the fall, you know, to work, and you're in a suit and tie all the time. Yeah, you can wear this with a t-shirt too. I'm not saying that you can't, but fantastic fall fragrance for under 30 bucks. Right here. Rocus Mustache, the EDP. So going into Saturday, I've worn this quite a lot since I've gotten it. It's been maybe 2 weeks, and man, this stuff is fantastic. Club de Nuit's Precious One. And so, you know, I have Club de Nuit Intense Man. So I put off getting this for the longest time. And man, I shouldn't have. I fucking shouldn't have. Because with this, man, you get that lemon from the Club de Nuit Intense Man, but it's so much smoother. It's not as screechy. It's not as synthetic. This is still a very strong, potent fragrance. You know, when I first tested this, I did 5 sprays, which was way too much because when I came in, everyone could smell me and that scent was lingering. I was going out of the room, it was still there. So I dialed this back to 3 or 4 sprays, which if you want a performance monster, here you go. If you want a sillage monster, here you go. If you can't smell this after an hour, it's because you sprayed on way too much. This will shut your nose down. But it's not near as rough and screechy as that Club de Nuit Intense Man in the first 10 minutes. This is smooth. This is well blended. You get that lemon of the Club de Nuit Intense Man. You get the pineapple from Aventus. And you get a touch of caramel that makes this a little bit sweeter. You have that absolute Aventus vibe with this. And then, yes, it does go into that oak moss, you know, heart dry down with a lot of woods. It has some musk in there. To me, it comes across a little bit powdery. For 40 bucks, this has gotten me more compliments in 2 weeks than anything else I've worn. Probably since Louis Vuitton's Imagination over the summer. This thing, if you want compliments and you care about that, this right here. This stuff smells fantastic. When I walk past somebody at my work, they're like, "Ooh, you smell nice. I just got a whiff as you walked by." I said, "Thank you." And she couldn't believe that this was only 40 bucks. I told her it was a clone, told her where to get it. This stuff is fantastic. Yes, it has the Aventus vibes, but this is so much better. It's so well blended. And it gives you that absolute Aventus, a little bit spicier, but not too much. It's not overbearing. This is a scent that everyone's going to like. And if you just want one fragrance, this can do it all for you. This is fantastic. One of the best buys I've had this year, 2025. And it's Club de Nuit Precious One. Then going into the last one. So Sunday, what I'm wearing. This is from Yeoman Lel. And, you know, I bought a sample pack from Yeoman Lel because, let's be honest, they're cloning fragrances that are $300 or $400. And, you know, when you buy a sample of something that's $300 or $400, it's usually $20 or $30. I bought a 5-pack sample from them. 5 10 ml samples, not 2 milliliter. 5 10 ml samples for $50. And I was like, you know what? I'll give them a shot. And this one does not disappoint. This is Basic Instinct by Yeoman Lel. Can't really see it that good, but who cares? So this is their version of French Defense by Mind Games. French Defense, to me, $370. Yeah, let's just say you can get it for a discounter. You know, get it at a discounter for $250. It's a beautiful cherry cognac woods fragrance. It's a date night seduction in a bottle. It is one of the most sexiest fragrances you can buy. But how versatile is it? It's not really that versatile. I mean, you can wear it in the wintertime, but you can't wear that to work. It wouldn't make sense. Just smelling like a cherry, you know, it's just goofy. So I wanted to get just a little tiny thing of this. See if maybe it's possibly worth it. And man, this thing is gorgeous. So with Yeoman Lel, you get this higher oil concentration. So they're going to sit a little bit closer to the skin, you know, than your EDPs or your EDTs because it's just higher, you know, it has that higher oil concentration. But it's going to last longer and it's going to be a little denser. So the thing that I've found is some of their citrus clones that they've done, it's a little too dense for me. You know, I like them. I like my citrus fragrances, my summer fragrances to be a lot lighter, to be airy, you know, moving around, flowing a little better. So I don't really recommend, you know, the citrus base from UML, but their deep, dense takes, like I got Louis Vuitton's Lovers. And yes, Lovers is a fresh fragrance, but it is heavy on sandalwood. And I like the denser vibe that it has, and I like how it saves me $300. So, but this right here, cherry, you get that cognac boozy vibe, you get the woods. This on a date night is just gonna be stupid good when it gets really, really cold. And like I said, you can get 5 of these big, giant 10 ml samples. I've worn this 4 or 5 times. You see how much I still have in there. And I did like 3 sprays of each because that's all you need. This stuff is really strong because it's very high oil concentration. But it's just really good stuff. And they have really good things to try. If you just wanted to take a chance, I do recommend this brand because they just make really, really good quality clones that get really close, or they have a unique twist on it. Their denser stuff, you know, the richer stuff, the wintertime, fall time scents, that's what I would recommend to try. And their Louis Vuitton scents, pretty close. So yeah, on Sunday, Basic Instinct, clone of French Defense. I hope you stayed till the end of this video. If you have, drop your fragrance rotation. I want to see what you guys were wearing because, you know, I kind of had an interesting week. You know, I had, one niche, a couple of clones, a designer or two, and then, you know, a different, you know, clone house that makes oil blended fragrances. So definitely a stranger week for me, whereas normally, you know, I like to keep it a little bit lighter at work. So thanks for checking in. Thanks for watching.